Well, stay tuned as we continue our Clay 101 series and we talk about how to get consistent portions of clay for use in your projects. Stay tuned and see how easy this is to do. Last week on our Clay 101 video, we talked about using some pieces of scrap wood along with your clay roller to get consistent thicknesses on your clay that you're rolling out. This week I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to get consistent portions of clay, because sometimes you need to make like multiples of something, maybe multiples of cookies, or even if you're making beads or whatever. You want to have consistent sized pieces of clay to work with. So we are going to talk about how to do that. So you roll your clay. What I do is I roll my clay out and then I get out some of my clay cutters, and it doesn't matter what shape it doesn't matter what shape they are, because we're going to just use this to cut portions of clay. So we cut a piece like that. Then we can roll our clay up into a ball, and we can work with it. If I cut another piece of clay, since this is all rolled out to the same thickness, I cut out another piece, it's going to be the same amount of clay. It's going to be the same size ball of clay. So the things I make from those two balls of clay will come out the same size, and they'll look like they belong together. If I need a smaller ball of clay, I can do two things. I can use a smaller cutter. This obviously will make a smaller ball of clay because it's a lot smaller little cutter. Another way to make a smaller ball of clay is roll your clay out thinner and cut it with the same cutter. I'm actually using my pasta machine today because it's just quicker and easier. I'm going to roll this down to a thinner amount and cut it with this same cutter, and now my ball of clay will be smaller. That's how I kind of experiment around and see, okay, how big do I need to get a ball of clay the size I want for my project? I'll play around with the clay. I'll roll it out and I'll cut it out with a cutter that I think is about right. And I'll roll the ball out and I'll measure the ball. If it's the right size for my project, I go ahead with it. If it's not, I adjust the thickness of my clay, or I adjust which cutter I use. Now, to measure our ball of clay, this is a circle template. It's a nice plastic tool. They're not super expensive. I've had this one for years and years and years, and they are so useful. Because what I can do now, say I've made this ball of clay. A lot of clay instructions will actually tell you you need a specific size ball of clay to do your project. This one is about a half inch, just a skosh under a half inch. This one that I made when I rolled the clay thinner, how big is it? It's 3/8 of an inch. The only downside to this tool is be really careful to wipe it down with a wet wipe every time you use it with clay, because polymer clay has a nasty habit of eating holes in our plastics. Only the raw clay. Once the clay is baked, it's fine. But raw clay will eat holes in plastic, so be very careful about that. But between a rolling tools, like we talked about last week, a circle template, and just some miscellaneous clay cutters, you can make portions of clay that are consistently the same size for your project, so your project will be a consistent size. And you may say, when do I use this? Well, maybe to make cookies. Maybe you're going to make some cookies and you need to have a bunch of little balls of clay that you can then flatten and texture. With the tools that we talked about a few weeks ago, you could texture this now and then use the chalks to color it, and you could make a cookie that easily. So I hope you found this helpful. Be sure and check my Facebook page for 18-inch dolls. The link is always in the description box. Also check out my blog post because I have more information there. For most videos, there's more information on the blog than I can give in the video. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.